Hello, Nigerians. This is a time to be very happy, because our prayers will soon be answered if the United States Congress pass the bill, which possibly they're going to pass that bill introduced by Texas Senator, Republican Senator Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz should be a hero right now in Nigeria. You know, Ted Cruz recently sponsored a bill which is co-sponsored by other senators, like the senator representing me right now, my own part of Oklahoma, Senator James Lankford, Republican, in the 119th Congress of the United States. Now, this bill, when passed, will officially designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern for the violations of religious freedom and, of course, freedom of ethnic minorities in Nigeria. Let me tell you something. It is not the designation of Nigeria as a CPC that is the biggest issue, that all these officials in government are making people look as if the United States is just trying to incite religious war in Nigeria, as if Nigeria was in a state of religious war. Nobody said Nigeria is in a religious war. We have harmonious relationship with our brothers, the Muslims, all of us. But there are Muslim terrorists operating in Nigeria and killing people, especially in Christian states. This is an incontrovertible fact. Now, these terrorists are being enabled by a lot of officials in government circles. If you remember the quote attributed to Abacha, who said, any insurgency that lasts more than 24 hours, it means the government has a hand in it. That is just the truth of the matter. United States, you need to sit down with United States senators, United States politicians and pressmen, especially those who belong to the African or Foreign Relations Committee of Chambers of the Congress. You get to understand your continent even more than yourself. These people are the same people who are exporting technology to us. Through this technology, they get so much information about us more than the way we know. That's the truth. These people have so much facts about Nigeria and they are going to unleash it very soon. So now, Congressman Ted Cruz just introduced a bill in the Congress, in the Senate, in September. And that bill is titled Nigerian Religious Freedom Accountability Act. Its official title is that is Senate Bill 2747. Okay, now, let me tell you why Nigerian officials are very, very apprehensive of this bill. There's nothing that has ruffled the shoulders of Nigerian officials like the introduction of this bill. Nothing. It's not all about this foreign aid they are talking about, or the embargo on loans, etc. By the way, we've suffered so much embargo all around the world, but we don't feel it. The common man doesn't feel it. Even if there are loans, even there are aids given to Nigeria, we don't even feel it. So that is not an issue. It may be very hurting, but it's quite secondary. The primary reason why Nigerian government officials are very, very scared of this bill, let me tell you. Section 2 of that bill says the president of the shall impose sanctions described in Executive Order 13818. That executive order was signed during Trump's first tenure in 2017. And that executive order postulates that the United States shall apply sanctions, visa travel ban, freezing of assets, blocking of property of anybody who has been listed or identified in the report captured by that law. Now, these guys have the report. That report, they say, when that bill is enacted into law, within 90 days of the enactment of that bill, the Secretary of State shall pass to the Senate list of Nigerians involved in this crime in the last 10 years. It means that these people have the list of Nigerians involved in this crime. And now, let me tell you the section of Nigerians involved in this crime that the bill specifically listed. So, the bill specifically listed federal officials, which is a general name for the guys in the executive arm of Nigeria at the federal level and the National Assembly, that's senators and House of Rep members. It says Nigerian judges, Nigerian governors, Nigerian law enforcement agents, those your generals, those your police, members of the security agents who have been involved in this crime. And now, let's understand their level of involvement in this crime. So the United States says you will be involved in this crime if at any point in time you promoted, you canvassed, you supported blasphemy laws, or you are even an advocate of it. That's the kind of law that made those urchins in Sokoto to murder that girl called Deborah Joseph some time ago, just so close to the Sultan of Sokoto's palace. So it means that the lives of the Sultan will be included in this. And many of these governors who adopted blasphemy laws in Nigeria. Now, that doesn't stop there. The section also gives room, also mentioned that government officials, that's governors, judges, senators, House of Rep members, who tolerated or were silent to acts of violence perpetrated by non-state actors, ISIS, Boko Haram, Fulani headsmen, and the rest. So under that law, these persons are deemed to be guilty. Like I said earlier, the United States have that report. They have the list of all this. And it's very easy to get a list of these people in Nigeria. Dubai, some time ago, around 5 years ago, had that list. They convicted, they prosecuted and convicted those guys in the United Arab Emirates, those involved in terrorism in Nigeria, and sent a corresponding list to Nigeria, which Nigerian government has slept upon. Recently, this year, the likes of Sheikh Gumi, when he went for Hajj in Saudi Arabia, he was deported at Jeddah International Airport immediately for terrorism. He was deported. So these international bodies, they have the names of all these people. They have a very long list of all your government officials, from your House of Reps to your House of Assembly to governors, to anybody involved in enabling it, in abating it, in aiding it, not just direct participation. They have the names of those who are completely involved, either directly or indirectly. Now, that is the reason why your guys are apprehensive. But wait for it. Now, when this bill is enacted into law, the United States will, within 90 days, when Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, transmit that letter, they will freeze all the assets, all the properties, all the investment of all the Nigerians listed in that report. They will place a travel ban on them. Now, wait for it. A lot of people will think that the travel ban is only applicable to the United States, or the asset is only the assets of these politicians that is in the United States, like the Florida house of a certain minister they are talking about, or a bank account of many of these other guys. No, wait for it. It's not just the United States. Now, in the United States, there is a law called the Magnitsky Act, which was passed in 2012. This Magnitsky Act is named after the event that happened in Russia when the tax lawyer Sergei Magnitsky was murdered by government officials. So the US now passed that act so that they could freeze the asset of all the Russians involved in it, freeze their property, freeze their investment, and everything related to them and their family. Now, it did not just stop in the US. Other countries now adopted that act and domiciled it. Remarkably, countries like the United Kingdom, Canada, European Union, and many other countries outside the European Union and in Europe. And these are the places Nigerians have a lot of assets. Canada, United Kingdom, Germany, UK, US, etc. So now, this country keyed into the position of the US and adopted what they call the Global Magnitsky Act. And so it means that this act has significant extraterritorial jurisdiction, not just in the United States. Even if you've never stepped your foot in the United States, but you do go to UK, countries of the European Union, Canada, and the likes, and you have your businesses in those places, you have bank account in those places. But wait for it, let me even tell you the grievous aspect of this. when we're given a CPC status, that's country of particular concern, and these our powerful men are given that designation of the global Magnitsky, this is what will happen to them. So that Magnitsky designation is a powerful tool that will cut individuals off. This individual in that report, whose names are in that report, it will cut them off from U.S. financial system. And by extension, that's the global financial system, because the U.S. financial system dominates global financial system, more than 80% of it. Transaction in dollars and transaction via the U.S. banks. Therefore, any transaction, any fund, any bank account, any property belonging to the sanctioned individuals or entity that touched the U.S. financial system. For example, a dollar transaction of any kind cleared through an American bank, even if those properties are overseas in any country, will be blocked. So, there's that internetwork, strong internetwork of the US financial system that's all over the world. It's just like a cobweb. Our guys like dollars. They like transacting in dollars. They like going to, anytime they're traveling, even if it is European Union, even if it's China, they first of all, convert it to dollars. And they use dollar cards, the Visa card, the MasterCard. So now that transaction will be blocked, will be frozen all over the world. So basically, gentlemen, that is why these guys are running helter-skelter. Preaching, buying slots on all the TV channels, all the radio channels, sponsoring groups to talk about the U.S. attempt to designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern. It's for them. It's not for Nigeria. It's not for all of us. I am for this. And right now, tomorrow, on Tuesday rather, I'll be having a meeting with Senator James Langford. I have an appointment with him to promote this, to campaign on this, on why the U.S. should continue, should never falter in her desire to see that we are a CPC, a country of particular concern. This nonsense will have to stop. The U.S. will have to help us expose these people involved in these killings. And I end by re-quoting that statement from Abacha, attributed to Abacha, when he says, when insurgency lasts more than 24 hours, the government has a hand in it. That is the truth. The government has a hand. Different people in government, at the state, at the national level, has a hand in all these killings happening in Nigeria. In all the headsmen killing, Boko Haram killing, Lakurawa killing, all this killing. And that is why you could see, like headmen attack in Benue, for instance, you could see that they will be carrying out the attack in front of the soldiers and nothing will happen. The soldier will not release even a gunshot because of the government involvement. And anytime some of these people are arrested by local vigilantes and take them to the police or to the soldiers, the next day those guys are released. So the United States have a list of all those guys. But they need a statutory backing to release those lists. And that is why Senator Ted Cruz is now sponsoring that bill, so that it will come into law. At that point, it has a legal backing. And that is why your officials, that your godfather, that your mentor in politics is scared, because his name is included in that list. God will prevail, and we shall prevail.